All right, we are live at the Troy Show, and I'm starting something new, and I'm running interviews on some people I really admire and areas where I can actually learn stuff. And today we have Dr. Pat, and I'll tell you a little bit about her. We've met, years ago, and she is a mover and a hustler, but she's also in the medical industry. She helps a lot of executives and athletes who are scaling their business. And she's going to give us a little bit of information about herself. So, welcome, Dr. Pat. And how long have we known each other? Because I'm so bad at dates.
Well, what I know is I was living in Atlanta. And so it had to be approximately like 2021
Mm.
is how long we've known each other. And thank you very much for the invite. And I love being here.
Yeah, thank you. Well, tell us a little bit about what you do as far as a profession, and then what are you doing to help these some of these medical type companies, so you can clarify some of those things, because I know that you help a lot of like just executives, coaches, consultants, and especially the business owners and the kind of the smaller medical industries and practices, because that's a huge thing that's popping up, is that a lot of these doctors are creating their own practices, especially from traditional chiropractor all the way to specialty medicines and stem cells and all these athlete related businesses that are hyper focused on a particular health industry.
Well, first, let's clarify what kind of doctor I am, other than a good one, a very good one. But I have my study has been, started to focus basically on, chiropractic. Then I had specialization in sports medicine, rehabilitation. I have certification in functional medicine. I'm an
Hmm.
acupuncture physician. And I have a lot of other accolades, but those kind of are the solidifying ones in the bottom there. And from that, I've worked with, when I came to LinkedIn, my goal was to be virtual. But when I first came to Lincoln, nobody was doing virtual work. And so I
Yeah.
always keep on getting told that I'm ahead of my time. Um, so, in what I'm doing now is I'm working with, I have some consulting work that I'm doing. I'm in upstate New York and freezing.
Mhm.
I also have had experience covering doctors' offices. So I've seen a lot of doctors' offices and how they function, um, and how they don't function, and where there's a lack or there's a gap in how they're running their businesses, so they're not optimizing them. And then I also, have worked with, as you said, strategically with high performers and, with their health and their performance so that they
Mhm.
have intentional growth, you know, and
So that's
that's,
more on the individual level. So if someone
yeah,
is making X amount of money because they're a high performer in their industry, a major part of their success is probably their health, right?
sure.
And
And
that's
their
why they're
mindset.
they're hiring you specifically, and they're allocating a budget and time and resources, particularly for that, because as we get older, we're finite, and we want to live the best years of our life, I would imagine.
Yes, with best years. The problem is that a lot of people ignore their health while they're in business because they're so focused on their bottom line in business, but they don't focus on their own personal bottom line. And if you
Mm.
don't have the health component with the mindset component, the resiliency and the resourcefulness, then you keep on, you're on a hamster wheel,
Yeah,
and
you
you take
crash,
2 weeks
burn.
off.
Yeah,
You crash and burn and you get off of the hamster wheel and you go away for 2 weeks and you come back as the same old stuff. And as soon as you're back into it and you have one crisis a couple of days after you get back, it's like you never left work at all to have that time to rest, recuperate, and elevate your, personal life mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually, and socially and financially. So
yep.
when I work with somebody, one of the first things I look at is like, well, what is it that you want to do? Where is it that you want to go? Because if you don't have your health as a foundational component, the back to basics and the foundational part of it, it's really, you're constantly putting, like filling the air with
Mm.
air. and you have a leak in it.
Mhm.
Instead of getting the leak fixed. So I help people focus on strategically, like where to start, what's the next step, how long it's going to take. And the one thing that I do that a lot of other coaches don't do is I look at what you've got all going on. I look at things like if it's available blood work. I look at what goals and aspirations are. What do you do 24/7? And I look at what's working, and the things that aren't working is where you focus, and you want to fortify what's already working, but you want to fix the things that aren't working so that you're
Yeah,
going from
let me
here to
say this.
here.
For everyone that's watching, feel free to ask any questions. I'll see it, or hopefully with the technology, I'll see the questions come up. And if we do have questions about anything that I'm talking about or that Dr. Pat is talking about, feel free to ask, and we'll just pause to reply to reply that. So you're talking about. I don't ever believe in balance. I think balance is a hokey pokey word, right? I do
Hmm.
believe though you have to make time, major time for your health as well as your aspirations. When I say health, there's the different components of health. There's your mental health, creating more of a safe environment for growth, and then there's your physical health. And so I think a
Hmm.
lot of people struggle from those different things just because of some of the stuff that you're saying, that they're very hyper focused in their business, or they're really good at what they're doing, and they ignore everything else, and that causes problems with your relationships as well. And
Hmm.
if you're
Sure.
hyper focused just on the business, there are personal components that some people, like me, I'm an introvert. I had a very hard time dealing with some extrovert activities, and it's pretty difficult because, to be honest with you, Pat, I don't like people sometimes. You know what I mean?
I
It's
think that's a common thread.
is it okay? Yeah,
I
that
I don't
that I
think I don't
also.
think you're alone on that one, because
But it's just
sometimes you
like
sit
you
there.
get pulled into this network meeting and you say, "Do I really want to be here?"
Mhm,
And this is not fun. I'm not feeling productive and things like that. And so sometimes you need a mind shift change,
mhm,
in what you're
yep.
doing. So do you help on aspects of creating a plan for some of the people on the coaching end, not the
Yeah, on the
business?
on the coaching end, yeah, for sure. I have, I mean, I was an introvert, and then when I became a doctor, I evolved in being an extrovert. So
Mm,
I get people who are introverted, who want to get out there, but don't that they get to the door and they're going, "Ah, I'd rather stay home," and and stay home. Or if they go out, there's
Yeah,
like their
because when your cup's
wallflowers.
full is full, you know,
Hmm.
and you
Yeah.
just don't, you can't force yourself to go beyond like certain limits, because it's just I'm not saying it's just uncomfortable, but it's not reasonable. So you have to, I would imagine you have to learn how to dump some of that out of the cup to put some of the other things in there that's going to help you along your life,
Hmm.
for the um for the growth and health and all that sort of stuff. You have to you have to dump out room for that, so you can kind of make it part of your life, I would imagine.
Well, if you think it, you can have it, and where the mind goes, the body follows. So as soon as your mind tells you that you can't do something, you immediately can't do it, or it will be screwed up so that you'll have the self-fulfilling prophecy. Like, see, I
Mm,
told you so, right? And so if and when you're looking at the ability to do affirmations, like how do I get past that? Is an affirmation okay to do? Sure, it's if it's in first tense and if you act on it, and if you're not lying to yourself.
mhm.
Because, for instance, if you're telling yourself, like, I'm healthy, I have a great diet, and, it's just like, and I'm going to do X, Y, and Z, or I'm doing X, Y, and Z, because you want to talk in present tense, or as if you already have it. So if you're like, I want to be healthy, or I am healthy, excuse me, I am healthy, in the back of your mind, your subconscious brain, the lizard brain's going, no, you're not. You ate a pizza last week. There's no way you're healthy. Come on, don't lie to yourself. Nobody believes that stuff. So when you're talking and saying affirmations, you have to say affirmations that are very helpful for you, like, I am healthy, vital, active, successful human being. And then
Oh,
what
okay,
you
okay.
say, and then what you say after that, you would say, like, well, why is that? And well, the reason is why,
So they're
because
not
I want to
micro
live long.
thoughts, they're almost deep meditations almost. So when you
Almost
meditate
like
on
they're clear, definitive statements.
clear, definitive statements, but wouldn't that be close to a type of meditation because you're concentrating on
Well,
those statements, right?
you can record them, and you can listen to them, because the best time to listen to your affirmations, if you record them, is the first thing in the morning and just before you go to sleep at night, because that's when your subconscious is more at rest and it's open.
Say that again, first thing in the morning, and
First thing in the morning, just before you go to sleep at night.
yeah,
So, for instance,
you have to speak a little slower to the audience and to me because I'm a man. So,
oh,
so
it's
I process
all right.
information a
Well,
little slower. So first thing in the
I'm
morning, and then
and
before you go.
I'm on the East Coast, so I'm talking normal speed here. Um, they so the thing is that you have to, when you say an affirmation, and if you say it first thing in the morning, at the end of the day, your subconscious brain is it's easier for it to accept it, you know, and
Yeah.
your subconscious, your mammalian brain's going in like, how can I make that happen? And so it sets the stage. It looks in your memory for other things that happen that are similar to that, so that the next time something happens, like that, like, I will go to Europe, I will be in Europe in August 2028, whatever.
Hmm.
When that time comes around, your brain's going to go, oh, yeah, we made that goal. Now we achieved it. It's very cool.
Right.
But the thing that's really impertinent is asking yourself, why is that? Why is it that I want to have longevity? Why is it that I want to have a successful business?
Hmm.
Why is it, that I have a successful business? That's a great question too.
Hmm.
But it all
Or you could
fits
have a
in.
successful business and not a happy life. They're not always. They're not always. They're sometimes they're attached, but they're not always.
They're
They're
not
separate
always
items.
aligned.
Yeah, they're not
They're not
always
always
aligned. That's the
aligned.
way. Yeah,
But
because I've seen
but
some people make a tremendous amount of money, and then they, I don't know, they're having a problem
they're
with the wife
miserable.
because she's blowing off all the money and stuff, and it's
Hmm.
just, he has a sense of out of control, and so he may not have a great life, although he's making a half a million in his job, every year. And so there has to be a way to, I don't know if control, I think a sense of control is really important. I do want to say hi to Reverend Jody, Sanil, Dawn. Thank you for joining us. And Jody is actually posting a couple of things. She says she likes to listen to brain tap meditations. Have you ever heard of
Mm,
that?
I have. Um, and I listen to, I have meditations that I do and that I offer to clients that I use myself.
Hmm.
Because I have this thing about like not offering something to somebody I haven't done myself, especially for health, wellness, and well being. Um,
That
and
makes sense. Yeah.
Right, makes sense. I mean, it's just like I can't tell you to go, hey, go, eat sauerkraut if I can't stand eating sauerkraut. I'm just never going to tell you that. But I can tell you that some people enjoy sauerkraut, and here's the benefits of eating sauerkraut, that kind of thing. You know, um, so, but the mind, body, soul part, the brain part, your brain's so, you have to figure out how to boost your brain, so it functions better, but without being that, so it's not depleted, so that while you're doing that. That's why, for instance, like one tip I give people is that after I eat lunch on a daily basis, I go lay down for 30 to 45 minutes and I
Oh, you do a
listen
little
to,
solstice.
well, I don't sleep, I meditate.
Oh,
Um,
really?
and I just lay down and I rest. I rest my brain and I rest my body. Because if I'm getting up, especially if I'm in an
But,
office on
how long ago? You said for 30 minutes?
30 to 45 minutes
30,
max.
45. I think beyond that, you might go to sleep and mess your sleep
Maybe,
cycle up, right?
maybe
You
that's
got
why you
so you
set
have
your
to have
alarm.
go within that window of about
Hmm.
30 minutes, 45 minutes. Okay, that makes sense.
Right.
Um,
And you just set your alarm, so that,
yeah.
if you can fall asleep, it will wake you up.
I'll tell
But I
you
do
this,
that.
I tend to take naps after a certain time. Like,
Mhm.
for me, it's 2 o'clock because I have to pick my daughter up from school, and I know she'll be playing, and I kind of burn my energy, like, 'cause I get up at 5 in the morning. And so I'll
Mhm.
burn my energy till then. And when she gets in there, I said, this is a good time for a nap. It's like, and and I won't meditate, but I'll take like a 30-minute nap and I'll put a timer on it because I feel like I need it. I'm 53, so maybe maybe that's something I should normally do. But I
Mhm.
kind of do that, not on the meditation side, but I'm just like, I need to, and then I get up and feel like, oh, I feel much better, because your brain gets a little bit of rest, a little bit of recharge.
Well, it's something you can do to maximize that even is pick a number like, 50 or 100 and just
Mhm.
slowly count backwards during that
Oh,
time that like when you're starting to take your nap, because what it does is it helps you get into a more peaceful, calmative state that also is very good to be in that state. It's called alpha when you're in business. And if you can stay in
oh.
the alpha state when you're awake, then you have this, you're like, you're unstoppable.
Yeah, so Jody is asking, tell me why you sleep after eating. Is she kind of, are you asking me or Dr. Pat? She's not sleeping. She's meditating. I take a nap after eating. Um,
Mhm.
no, and I don't take a nap. I take a nap after I pick my daughter up, but it's not that far off. It's not that far
Mhm.
off. So I guess she's asking you, why would you meditate after eating? What is the purpose of that?
Because when I come out of that meditation, it's as if I had an extra hour of sleep every night.
Ah, we all need sleep because as you get older, it's more difficult to sleep.
Mhm.
I get up like 3 o'clock, 3 times a night. Just like
Mhm.
I have to go to the bathroom, or I get up and check on my daughter. Just normal. I don't know if it's a man thing or it's a thing of getting a certain age. So yeah, we do need
Well,
our
do
sleep.
you fall back asleep when you lay down?
Yeah, usually I do. Yeah,
That's good.
yeah.
Because a lot of times people get up because their glucose levels, they ate something they probably shouldn't have eaten, and it affects their glucose levels because your glucose levels, when they fluctuate when you're sleeping, make you get up.
So Sunil has a question. He wants to know what happens if he sleeps only 4 to 5 hours maximum, which I don't think are enough, but that's just me.
Well, it could be
I
enough for him. You'd have to
oh
just evaluate whether or not,
okay.
whether that's adequate for him, and like what cycle is on. People who work the graveyard shift,
Mhm.
they have their circadian cycles are totally screwed up.
Well, I did have a brother-in-law that started a business, and he became like the top caterer in like South Carolina, like in Charleston.
Mhm,
And his business blew up and he took over the rental industry, and he told me he only got like 4 or 5 hours of sleep and he was good. And I was like, man,
mhm.
you're insane. That's that's
Well,
but he's a different person.
yeah, you have to look at what someone's chemistry is. You have to
Yeah.
take a look at the physical, mental, emotional, spiritual, social. It all has to come together, and people do what they have to do. I recently talked to this guy who had this very innovative idea in Rochester about taking photos and he told me he only gets like 4 hours of sleep, maybe 5. I don't remember what that exact number is, but it was little. And I said, how do you do it? And he goes, I love it. He goes, when I get up, I'm energized, I'm on fire, I hit the
Mm.
ground running. And he goes, and I have and here's the key, pristine diet.
Wow.
And so he's eating foods that enhance brain cognition, physicality, like what's going on with your body and the biology of it, and he's eating foods that are not counterproductive to his energy, and he's not eating like weird like Red Bull kind of stuff, or drinking those kind of things. In order to do that, he's looking at very specific foods that
Yeah.
that promote the
and,
body
and
to function
everyone
even better.
can digest food differently, so it has
Hmm.
partially to do with your culture and habits, and people like me, I'm of a mixed culture. I'm half Filipino and half European, so
Hmm.
hot and cold together. So there's certain things that I lay on one side or the other of the cultural spectrum. For example,
Hmm.
I know to buy lactose and like the lactate milk because
Mhm.
I cannot drink a lot of. I can drink some, but not a lot. And there's certain things. For example, I always know that what, if I have digestive issues, a peanut butter and jelly sandwich and a glass of milk is actually really good for me. Like over the
Because
years,
it's
I know.
comfort food for you.
Well, no, it helps you
Yeah.
digest and stuff
Mhm.
like that. Sunil has a question: what changes happen in our body? Is it maybe negative effect or not? What changes? Yeah, so it's a very general question. It could be changes based on your diet, changes based on your age, changes based on how would you answer this?
I can't. It's too general. They have to give me something better to work with there. I love them. Thank you very much for the question. But, it's just like, are you talking to something in specific so that, you have to help me out here? There's a med-
Yes,
med-
Sunil. So you have to be a little more specific to your Pandora's box question here. But if you bring it up, I'll bring it up as well. So what I want to do is we have a kind of a limited time, and I'm gonna tell people a little bit about myself. I know some people know me, and I'm uh, I'm trying to click the button here. I'm Troy Hipolito. I'm the host of the Troy Show, but I'm also known as the not so boring LinkedIn guy. So I build systems and strategies for business, starting from LinkedIn, and we have our own software, Scoop. And you were mentioning, Dr. Pat, that you were using Scoop for business. So first of all, I want to know a little more about the newer businesses that you're dealing with because I know that you are helping a current chiropractic agency to drive up revenue. And I
Mhm.
think that is a big part of this conversation because you have a lot of practitioners that are learning how to grow their business, sustain their business, and just have a healthy revenue spread. And you see a lot of opportunity for supporting that. And so your recent adventure, you're dealing with I believe, a chiropractic agency, and you're increasing the revenue quite a bit. I would love to understand how you're doing that, and also Scoop, which is our SaaS product. It's a LinkedIn video sales and relationship tool. I'm wondering how you're using that to implement some of those relationships and to drive business.
Well, just quickly, on the my current situation here is that I found a practice that was underserved,
Mhm.
and I thought it was crazy that this guy had this office for over 30 years, less than 40, over 30, and that his because when he sent me his P&Ls, his numbers were didn't make sense to me
And
on
why is
some
that?
extent. Mhm.
And why didn't they make sense?
Well, because they're in the red,
Oh,
and and
saying that
and
he's a chiropractic practitioner, and he's in the red, and that should not happen. Okay, got it.
well, because he owns the building that he's in. He doesn't own any money on the building,
Mhm,
So when I came in there, I revamped, policy. I revamped forms, and I immediately increased. He was charging the same amount of for over many years, and so his updated his his everything straight across the board, and started, doing more advertising. He never marketed, he always went by word of mouth,
mhm.
and so at the end of 2024, I increased his revenue by over 43%,
Oh,
and
wow.
I sustained that 43%, and I said to him, Michael, you were gone 6 weeks out of the year, and I said, I've taken 1 week off. But during that time, it's just like, he realized a gross revenue that he's never seen before in his practice.
So do you think that his original issue is that, he had a level of complacency of what he normally did? So this is what I do, and this is how I do it, and it always worked for me before kind of situation, or what do you think
To, s-
the
to some extent, I mean, when I first looked at his webpage, I said, this isn't a webpage, it's a landing page.
Mhm.
And there's no way for people to opt in to work with you. And you had 30 different ways of your keywords for yourself, in an area that, it was really
There's a lot of improvement for
not
modernization. Yeah.
Oh, for sure, for sure. And then, when we started to modernize, we rearranged the office so it was more functional,
Hmm.
changed the procedure of what the front desk does, and like how they interact with patients and follow up because the girl who was there originally just took, it's just like, well, he didn't want to come in today. So I go, did you reschedule him? No. I said, why didn't you do that? Well, because I never ask people that when they canceled their appointments. I'm thinking, I'm going like,
So
wow,
what I'm hearing is that there was a lot of opportunity to help them. Anything you did would help them. So number
right.
one is their online presence was pretty weak, and they needed
Oh, for
improvement
sure.
just to modernize it, creating a good funnel. And on the other side, he just had bad business. I don't want to say bad business practices because he was probably making money, but he could definitely improve on those business
Oh,
practices
he
of just
did.
typical sales practices. Like at the end of the meeting, if there's a close in a site, you need to schedule a meeting and not keep it open. So
Mhm.
rescheduling in that case would make sense
Well,
because if they don't schedule it, they're going to go on their own time versus the time you want to get them in.
well, not only that, the one thing that's interesting about this place is that he didn't have any way to track his numbers. And so
Oh.
he had a QuickBook,
Hmm.
and I said, "What's your P&L for each month?" And I recently in the late fall, I was asking him. I said, "I need numbers." I said because I need to assess whether or not this office is really conveyable, or you should just sell it as is. And so he, like dragged his feet about that, and then we hired, I sent an insurance agency in that I was familiar with, and they went in and did an audit. And I almost hit the car in front of me when he told me what the accounts receivable was based upon that. It's just like there's
Well, we
no
don't need to
tracking.
know
Like,
exact numbers, but
and I'm not going to give that, but
40,
it's a lot.
43% within how long have you worked with them?
Well, I was there I started for the year 2024. It was
Hmm.
43% definitively.
Hmm.
And almost like 63% actually. But I like what I say is a workable number is 43.
Those
And
are
then
just
during 20,
recovering lost revenues based. This is what it sounds like.
no,
That
that's just brand new revenue.
brand new revenue.
That's
Okay.
brand new revenue. And then in 2025, I sustained that 43%, with fluctuation. And I ended the year, like it's like he's never seen that number. I asked him, I said, have you ever seen this number when you're in practice before? Because when I had my practice and I sold it in 1996 and I moved to Boston,
Hmm.
I said, I bought my practice for $20,000 and I sold it in the mid six digits
Hmm.
in 1996.
Well, some
You
of it
know,
might be location, and some of it not. Like the Jody is mentioning in the comment here, um, for chiropractic school, they don't have a business management. They don't teach business management. They don't give you any information about how to adjust your taxes, for the best thing, and all those type of. So that I would think that would be super important, or it would be if you're going chiropractic school, they should have. Um, some extra courses just for business structure, you know.
well, when I went to school, they had them, but there wasn't, there's nobody who said like, hey, this is how I done it because this is what I done. I've had, and they would bring in people who had like multi-million dollar practices to talk to people to say this is what's possible. They didn't bring anybody who was failing. Let's put it that way. But the thing here, it like in this scenario is that I just think people get to a point in practice because, I don't think he knew, what to do next.
Hmm.
And also he had this fear that, if he raised his rates, that people were going to stop coming, and
Yeah,
I said, where are they going to,
I don't think
I
that's
just,
that's a common fear in
no,
all business. And I'm
oh,
gonna
for
tell
sure.
you
But
this much: I had in the LinkedIn business stuff, I had $1,000 a month clients, right? But
mhm,
you know what? They had $10,000 a month issues, and it was a
mhm.
pain in the butt. And so I raised my prices, and I say I got one price, and I will build everything out and train your people and hand it over to you. And
Mhm.
if you think it's too much money, you're the wrong customer because
Well, I will come into your
I'm much more
office,
comfortable with this. I'm
you
sorry.
know, no, I'll come into your office. All you have to do is give me your numbers and I'll tell you what kind of office you have. There's a woman who I consulted with about a year and a half ago who wanted to develop another part of her practice. And she was already doing rather well. She just wanted
Yeah.
to develop Tuesday, Thursdays, and a half day a week. And
Mhm.
based upon what she told me that her, was her average, bill out per patient, I said to her, okay, if that's the case, then I went click, 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 and I came up, you're leaving $535,000 on the table.
Mm.
And
Mm.
her issue is, and this is like when people
And
get
this is
into
just in the
like,
business portion and not any like a whole tax thing
oh,
is a whole different animal, right?
oh yeah, forget
Oh,
about that part. I'm just talking
yeah.
like, like revenue, you
Just
can figure out taxes
operations.
on your
Yeah.
own. But
Yeah.
the thing is that she said to me was like, and I said, so is it worth paying somebody? What would you pay somebody if they could do that? She goes, oh,
Mm.
not any more than 15% because it's part-time. And so her
Mm.
mindset was that somebody who works those hours is only working part-time. And I said, it's not about the hours, it's about dollars and cents. If
Mhm.
someone can generate that revenue for you, they're worth more than, 15%. Let's say, how about 50?
Mhm.
If you're going to like pay somebody on,
'Cause you'll get someone that's
production.
really good, and they're gonna do a better job at
Yeah.
that
I,
percentage. I mean,
I
just
structured out
generally
for her how
speaking.
to do it. The average chiropractic office only sees 30 patient visits in a day. I mean,
Yeah,
the average. I mean, there's
yeah.
people who, I've seen when I have my
It depends
practice,
on their sets of.
I
Were you
sometimes saw
doing any of the
70.
chiropractic, actual work? Like, were you able to make, did you have any time to make some extra income or help on the physical chiropractic customer work?
And
Well,
where
and
and where
within
I'm at right now, or where
your current arrangement.
in my current arrangement, I do see clients because I wanted to get an understanding about what worked
Oh,
and what
that
not
makes
worked in the
sense.
office,
Makes
and
a
I'm
lot of sense,
licensed
yeah.
here. If I wasn't licensed in the state that I'm in, then I would not. I wouldn't be able to do any type of that kind of work. It'd all have to be
Mhm,
observation. But I have gone
mhm.
through. I'm looking. I've looked at reports like like what happened to this patient, and I go, they don't, it's just like, there wasn't like that cognition. They didn't have any systems put down of how to follow up with
Mhm.
somebody and how to follow them up with like, like immediately if they didn't hear from in a week,
So do you think most of
2
these
weeks,
chiropractic
month.
or these medical professionals that have these smaller companies, only a few employees, do you think they all have these big gaps? Is that
They do.
really a common
Yeah.
issue
I think
in
that a lot of, there's some offices that
mhm,
don't, but it's not just chiropractic
is any
offices.
office?
It's dentistry. It's anybody who has somebody at the front desk, being the first person someone sees and the last
Yeah.
person, and also to have that person be able to collect money when someone comes in when they're supposed to pay
Yeah.
you, and not let them walk out. So it's like, what's your credit card number?
Oh, she's like, "Oh,
And
yeah, let me pay for the next visit coming up," type scenario?
oh, no, 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 just pay. I mean, you have a copay today, due
What?
today, and unless other arrangements are made, they're supposed to be paid on that at that time.
Oh, yeah.
So some people, depending upon what their schedule is, if they're seeing 3 times a week, then they only pay once a week. But the thing is that, there were like, in the audit, there were people who never paid their deductible, like in the year of 2025, that it was never like,
Yeah,
hey,
and
address with the
so
person, but they let the
yeah,
person,
so you're losing money right
they're
there. You
relying.
know, it's funny that,
Oh, for sure.
we have Jody, and then we have, Sanel, and then, Bodan has just, connected, and they're arguing about the sleep hours on the chat. He says
Well, the average sleep hours, I have taught many sleep summits. So the average sleep hours for an average person is 7 to 9
yeah.
hours. And then you have to make sure your sleep hygiene is
I don't
perfected.
wait,
Like
you're
dark
talking Greek to
windows,
me. What is
temperature.
sleep hygiene? What is that?
Sleep hygiene is how you Sleep hygiene is how you set up your ritual for sleeping. Like, the temperature in the bedroom, how many blankets you have on you. Some people don't like heavy blankets, some people like
Oh,
light. You have to set it up so it works for
okay.
you. And the lighting's
Yeah.
crucial. So even when you go to wake up, like for instance, you wake up at earlier than I do, but I wake up at 6 o'clock in the
Mhm.
morning. So I make sure that I stay in bed for a bit of that because, I'm doing like, bed stretches and I'm doing
Yeah.
breathing. And then when I get up, I open my windows slightly so that I get natural light in because that doesn't upset my cortisol levels.
Oh, I see.
And so that's an important, feature so that you can keep that in, check during like to start your day off. Because if you're
I have to
dumping
admit my
cortisol,
my
immediately your
bed.
stress level's
What did
high.
you call it? Bed. Not sanitation. What did you call it again?
No,
Hygiene.
hygiene, sleep
Your bed
hygiene.
hygiene. My bed hygiene is to yell at my daughter to tell her go to sleep because because she has a lot more energy than I do, and she's always doing
Mhm,
something, and you have to put her to bed a couple times, or she's building some Legos and she's talking to herself and doing a bunch of stuff. And I said that's the most work I have. Like going to bed is not that hard because I just go underneath the blanket and I do tape off though. I have a TV in the room and I don't use it at night. I may watch it, but if I go to sleep, I have an hour or two before I just kind of. So I do.
mhm.
There's a red light in the bottom of it, and I tape it because I don't want that red
Yeah.
light or that light coming out.
Oh, it's mentally stimulating. It's like I mean, you can always, if you don't watch it clearly you don't watch it in the middle of the
Yeah,
night, you could always unplug it. Then you don't have that, EMF push towards you from electronics around you, even like in your cell phone,
yeah. I gotta put it away. Yeah,
ideally
put it
should be.
literally, at least several
Uh,
feet away where it's not within reachable, distance.
Right. Especially if you need to have it on for in case of emergency call or something like that. But if not,
Well, if
there's
there's an
always,
emergency
you
call, it'll
can
wake
always
you
check
up, I
your
guess,
Wi-Fi out.
Well, I think most of the time I had a ex-girlfriend. She says, well, you should keep your phone next to you in case there's an emergency. Like if I need to call you at 3 o'clock in the morning, I'm like, woman, what the heck are you doing 3 o'clock in the morning? Like, I said,
It's like you should be
she asked me, she says,
you should be
what's going to happen? I
sleeping.
said, I said, I don't know. I turn my phone off. I'm sleeping, so you might die. Maybe you shouldn't
Yeah,
go out 3 o'clock in the morning. That's
like
what I told her. But yeah, I'm a
like
common sense person.
and then dial 911.
Yeah, I just said you might die if
You know,
what are you
the,
going out
the
3 o'clock in the
911
morning?
system,
You know?
the nine the 911 system is accurate within 16
Oh,
feet.
okay, that'd be better than calling me because you
For
wake me
sure.
up. Like I
You
need my
know,
sleep. I'm sorry. Like don't do weird stuff at 3 o'clock in the morning. Stay home. That's my because I just saw Bowden's message. He says he hates mornings because he used to work in showbiz and nightclubs and stuff like that.
oh,
So yeah, so
he
you
said,
have a whole different your morning night routine is kind of upside down. Well, compared to me anyway. Like I
mhm.
I sleep pretty early. So you use a lot of common sense practices, and you specialize in a lot of these medical companies, and they more than likely all have opportunities for growth, for financial
They
growth.
do. There's a lot of practices, and
Hmm.
in regular businesses too, that leave a lot of money on the table because they don't have a logical system, for acquire like their internal systems that have to be set in place. My biggest familiarity is a chiropractic practice because it's what I had, and I grew from $20,000, and sold it, in like shockingly to me at that time, going, it's worth that much, and but my goal to leave Cape Cod was stronger than the money, at that point in time. I don't, and then Cape Cod grew, and it's almost like a bedroom community of Boston, even though it's about an hour and 15 minutes away by car
Mm. Well,
or
I
train.
can't really post on here, but I wanted to give your booking link. So what I'm going to do on the LinkedIn Live event, I'll post your booking link.
Great.
It sounds like you're definitely open to helping these companies because if there is a guaranteed revenue increase starting from like 43 to 60, you're so specific with your numbers. I would just say 40 to 60%.
Yeah. Well, no, because
You said
no,
43
because
to
I gave the guy
63%. I was like, oh, that's very
I gave his
specific.
I gave his guy a report from 24 going into
Uh-huh.
25, so he knows exactly where the money like lied for that particular thing. But I also help individuals like entrepreneurs and athletes. I used to work with when I was in have my office contact with um, the Kenyan runners, LPGA,
Hmm.
the Special Olympics. That the first one I only worked the first one. It was at Harvard University.
Oh,
um, and it was really incredibly but people who are very they're just like executives who want to like they want to win,
oh, I
and if you think
totally
you can
see
win,
that.
you can win. You just have to organize it so you're not don't kill yourself on the way going to do it for no apparent reason.
Yeah. Oh, I can show this link. So what I'll do is I'll go back and add this booking link. And so I would say if you have a practice or you need help in your health, on both of those fronts, because when you're a leader or very driven in what you're doing, you're really good at what you're doing, but you end up burning out simply because you don't have, and again, balance is the wrong word. You don't have those elements of health and growth and mental sanity because, um, and also I realize that people will think like someone like me, I'm insane until I'm successful. So and so you have
Well,
the brain power to push through it, and you
for
may
sure.
fall short
Mhm.
in other areas.
For sure, and that's why your system is helpful,
Oh yeah,
because
let's
one
talk
of the
about
things
that.
I yeah, so one of those things that I'm going back to, in 2026, I rebuilt my platform in 2025, but I'm going back to individual coaching. And the
Mhm.
reason why I like to do individual coaching is because you get more of me, you get 150% of me in all my efforts. And that, so the thing that I really like about um, is how easy it is to use. When I first looked at it
Are
and
you
you
referring?
explain
You
it,
broke up a little bit, Dr. Pat. Are you referring to Scoop? We'll just hold on for a second. Looks like we have some internet issues. Hopefully, it's not on my end. So while we're waiting on that, these are the slides we're going to put together. And so after the event, we'll put this together and as a post, and you can download it as a PDF. It's just really touching base on some of the things that she's doing. And oh, she's jumping back in. I'll do that right now.
good. So
There you go.
before I was rudely interrupted by
Was
the
this an
internet
internet
up here.
thing, or was it my son?
Yeah,
Was it? Okay.
probably the internet up here. It's really windy and it's super. Um, so, but at any what I was saying was that what I found about Scoop. When I first listened to you, I thought it sounded like marbles, blah blah blah.
Oh,
And
really?
then as
Sorry for that.
so,
Well,
but when I
let's hold that thought and I'll explain what Scoop is. Okay, so I'm a LinkedIn professional and a business guy. I build systems, right? Before that, I was an IT guy. I did a lot of Fortune 500 work and a lot of startups. So I create apps and systems. And so we applied those systems to business and we saw a gap in the market. And we said, why aren't the people converting on their LinkedIn direct messages? And then where do people convert on LinkedIn? There's two places: on your content and then on your direct messages. All these other channels like events and your content and communicating and booking meetings are derivatives of that. And so we designed Scoop as this little application right there you see, and that's a new design. It's coming out in a couple of weeks to actually send out predetermined messages So 80% of your messages are reusable, and do a short video as well as title that video to help convert. So I personally went from 3% conversion rate on a single LinkedIn message to 21% on a single message. And that's huge because the average person gets about 10 connections a day. So if you're in business and in the B2B market, coaches, consultants, and that stuff, and in sales as well, it's a huge difference because if you are in the B2B market, you typically only need a few deals at a time, like once a month or one every 3 months. So if you can increase those vetted booked meetings with people that really want to talk to you, you increase your sales. And there's a bunch of other nerdy stuff too, but I want to Dr. Pat tell me how she used Scoop and what she thought. You thought what I was explaining was a bunch of marbles in the mouth. Is that what you're
No, it
saying?
sounded like a bunch of marbles, when I first listened to you. And then when I went back, and then you gave me a complimentary piece to look at for a period of time. So
Uh-huh.
then, when I looked at it and I started using the part that I understood,
Hmm.
and that was really easy,
Hmm.
and because, my goal in using it was to start using it for instant videos and for personalized messaging, especially the personalized messaging,
Hmm.
so, and when I was preparing for this, I was thinking about there's a couple other things in there that I haven't elevated using. So my goal this year, I just made it my goal yesterday when I was like really prepping for this, is that,
Hmm.
it's my 100%, commitment to like implement the whole thing, this
Mm.
year, because there's just like, very incredibly impressive, what it
Oh,
does.
thank you.
Because
Thank
but
you.
for me, who serves, executives and entrepreneurs and athletes who are scaling their businesses,
Hmm.
and they're trying to navigate, some level of transition, and or, operating, at a higher level, then that where they need to sustain energy, focus, and their clarity, then, it's just like, it's crucial that, it's just like I had to have, the ability to have that connection with them. And
Mm.
not only is it nice to have the connection, it's also because the relationship that you create here is, very authentic. It's not, it's not repetitious, like the same things that people hear all the time.
Yeah,
And,
and they don't. I think a lot of people don't like the AI and the automations because it
mhm,
seems really lazy. And I think at the end of the day, if someone's going to give you 20, 50, $100,000, whatever your business model is, they're going to give it to a person, and they're going to give a person that they know, like, and trust. And so
mhm,
we designed Scoop to shorten the time it takes to build a relationship because when you send a Scoop video, they know that it's real. It looks like a real person. It's not highly polished, and they know that you spent time to talk to them specifically about them. And so people appreciate the effort that other people do to get to know them. Believe it or not, us humans, we want to hear a name. We want people to talk about us as normal humans. And when you do that, you put the effort in. And so there's a huge separation. And there's nothing wrong with AI or automation. Matter of fact, we use Scoop with it, but there's certain major touch points where's the most important time I need to engage manually. And if you do that, it converts. It
mhm.
converts literally 6 times better. So that's kind of what we did. So thanks so much for that. There is a huge, authentic component in it because humans want to work with humans.
Right, for sure. And one of the things that, because when I work with somebody, I get to know everything about them, and it's just like what's going on with their, business, what's going on with their wife, what's going on with their kids, and then that all leads into
All the
like
way down to the
funneling
blood
down.
work, right?
And the blood work too,
Yeah.
because I can order that, and or you can get it from a direct lab, the type of work that you need to, so you can get the information, but you don't always need to start with a bunch of blood work, because that's what makes me different as other coaches, because I look what's already going on. I already have assessments that give me a bird's eye view, and if there's gaps, then you use medical labs and that type of thing that you needed to use. But my first thing that I always want to do is build a relationship with somebody, because my goal is to, change. I have a person who I'm about to on board that, I said, what is it the biggest thing you want to do? He goes, I have to have better lifestyle. My lifestyle is horrible and I can't sustain this. I am only, and he's in his late 40s. I'm only in my late 40s. I can't imagine what I'm going to be like when I'm 60, and still trying to do the same thing. He's got
Yeah,
3
yeah,
kids.
your pace changes when you get a little older.
Mhm.
So you leverage more, a lot more when you get older. So you take that knowledge that you've gained and saying, do I really have to spend this much time in doing stuff? And
Mhm.
you leverage those relationships and the technology to build, like, those deeper relationships versus when you're younger, you just have a different kind of energy.
Mhm.
And I wouldn't say naive energy, but a young energy is different than a mature energy. You just move differently in that matter. And then Bowden says, "Don't hate, automate."
Well, Bowden, I think automation is great because, I've
Yeah.
seen where it's been very beneficial in different styles of businesses in people's personal lives.
Yeah, yeah.
There,
There's a huge plus for automation. So we're not saying automation is bad. We use it ourselves, but there are certain points where you have to input the human parts of it, because at the end of the day, relationships are very important. And if someone's going to give you a ton of money, that means they trust you. And if you
Mhm.
didn't put any effort to build that trust in the first place, and you sound like everyone else, then it's probably not going to convert. You're not going to convert very well on the business side.
Oh, for sure. And the thing is, and my big message to a broader audience is, I'm trying to, connect with the executives and the leaders so
Hmm.
that who are very ambitious about their longevity.
Hmm.
Because sometimes you go over the board doing all these biohacks and all these things like this. Like,
Yeah.
have you really researched that out? I mean, that's a cool stat to know, but how does that
I think
enhance
I
your
think those are
career
like the
and
icing on the
relationship?
cake, but it's not the cake. So it's good to have knowing some of those biohacks. But if you don't have those basics down, you're kind of SOL, if you know what I mean. You have to
Well,
have like you're
I know
saying,
some guys.
sleep is a huge part. Like if you don't get enough sleep, and if you, for example, if you're getting older and you got to get up 5 times a night to pee, then you gotta address that. Maybe your bladder is touching, your bladder. What is it, bladder too big, or not bladder?
Now, prostate. It could be the
Prostate, yeah.
prostate, but it's
Prostate is
probably
because it gets bigger
also
when you're older. I'm finding all this stuff out. I said, I don't need a biohack. I need to reduce that thing.
yeah, that there's things that you can do for that. But the other
Yeah.
thing is that keeps people up, not just men. Is women also is estrogen receptors in the blood vessels. It's in everybody. So if you can quell those estrogen receptors so they aren't firing in the middle of the night, more than likely you're not going to get up. So if you want an interesting hack to try, is to drink for at least 21 days. I did this, so I know that you can do it.
Okay.
Is to drink 1 tablespoon of organic cider vinegar with filtered water, 12 ounces of it 3 times a day. And that the interesting thing is that when I did that
Okay.
exactly a year ago.
Dr. Pat, say that again, slower.
It's 1 tablespoon of organic cider vinegar and
Mhm.
12 ounces of filtered water. The water's got to be,
And
good
you do
water,
that when you wake up, or when do you do
three
that?
times a day.
Three
And you
times a
don't
day.
want to drink the third one anytime before, like you want to finish that one off like by 7 o'clock at night, something like that.
Yeah,
So you
not
could have
too
one for
late.
breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
Yeah, because I remember taking apple cider vinegar, a tablespoon of it with
Hmm.
a cup of water. I lost weight.
Well, you would lose that too, but
Yeah, I lost weight.
it balances out it has a tendency to help support your blood sugar levels,
So I'm gonna ask you
and
something a little off key. The
yeah,
apple cinnamon vinegar. I
apple
heard that
cider.
the apple cider vinegar. I heard that the popular brand has changed their formula. And so I
I
think
just
Bill
I don't.
Gates purchased it or something, and now it
Oh, that's
doesn't
a good
work.
reason
So
not to
is
buy
there a
it.
particular brand that works better than others?
Well, you want to buy organic, for sure. And secondly, you
Uh-huh.
want the mother, the stuff they call the mother, the sediment in the bottom of it, and you always shake it up before you use it.
Oh, that's the real stuff because there's a lot of other stuff that they don't
Yeah,
put the same stuff.
Briggs is the company
It has
name
a
that
sediment
people.
in the bottom.
Yeah,
Okay,
Briggs is
and
the
it's
company
organic.
name that
I'm
used to
sorry.
be like every Briggs, Braggs, is the company name
Oh,
of the
Greg's.
original, the people who first started to create the organic cider vinegar.
Okay, so
And
organic and
so
Greg's. Okay, we should get some funding money
we could do
from
a
them.
challenge. We should challenge it. We could do a 21-day challenge. But what I found is that I this is the interesting thing. I started on the maybe like the second week, or like maybe at the end of the first week, something like 5 days or something like that. I don't remember exactly.
Mhm.
But I started sleeping through the whole night,
Mm.
and very soundly.
Oh.
So I thought that was an interesting side effect,
Yeah,
and
sleeping is
I
huge.
I can lay
Sleeping
down and go to
diet,
sleep anyway.
definitely. So let's talk about this before we drop off because we're getting top of the hour. So
Okay.
3 methods, and this is the kind of the giveaway, and then I'll post this, and at the end of this event, I'll drop the link to meet with you, and I'll drop a separate one to meet with me. But I want them to reach out, but I want to give them the 3 methods of that you're using to be successful in your
Well,
business.
I use these three methods specifically to build relationships with executives and leaders so that they can optimize their health and their longevity, and I want to create visible relationships. So the
Mhm.
first method that I use is instant videos. So how the instant videos that I found worked on SKOOP, it gave me an opportunity to communicate with somebody in a quick, like 15-minute, 40-second personalized video, and I could send it directly to the person as a response as opposed to typing it. Um,
Mhm, mhm.
then and so and then also on that, because what I found is that the instant videos worked really well on LinkedIn. I also found that it worked well on Gmail.
Oh, yeah,
Um,
yeah, it's integrated directly in Gmail as well, and so, one thing that people don't realize, like, you're a reader, most people are not, they scan. So anything longer than 3 lines of text, they may not read it because it may just be something they don't normally do, and so what I do is I do a sandwich method where you have 2 or 3 lines of text for context. So
mhm.
they don't have to click on it, so they know what it's about, and
Oh yeah.
they make a micro decision. They see a video, and it looks like it's for them. And the third step in the sandwich is bread, meat, bread. The third step in the sandwich is title their name in the title. So they say, "Oh, this is
Mhm,
really for me,"
mhm,
and that increases that conversion rate. But glad
uh-huh.
you're
That's
seeing a good conversion in Gmail as well, though.
right. Well, I'm really bad at my emails right now because I was away for 3 weeks at Christmas time, and it's just like I am in the swamp, right now, yes. So anybody
You
who
gotta
sends
get
me
a good
something on
VA
Gmail, I ask them, yeah,
EA maybe, executive assistant
I need
maybe, I don't
somebody who
know.
can go in there. Anybody know anybody to send them my way? But the thing is that I found is that, when I started playing with that, like last fall, and being able to do that, that started to be, I've got to do this
Mhm.
more. And so it's just that thing that I said my goal for 2026 is learning the platform more completely.
Yeah, yeah,
And
we'll get
that
some.
so and also, you just what you just said, it's like, what I read when I was reading stuff about when I was going to implement this, is that the part that I liked about this part is that you could personalize it. So there was a personalized subject
Yeah,
line, and like just you just got done saying about that one piece about being able to like direct it to the person,
yeah.
and that's
Hyper
important.
personalization is a
Um,
huge thing. So, just for the sake of time, method one is personalize your communication on LinkedIn and email using tools like Scoop is a big deal, especially if you use it
mm,
right and using certain
mhm.
methods. And did you mention 2 and 3? Because we're coming short.
I did. Second one is, personalizing those messages,
Oh, using
and
video
booking links,
personalizing. Got it. Uh-huh. That's great.
and texting
Oh,
also.
texting.
So it's easy for me to make meaningful messages that were thoughtful and very intentional by using this method.
Got it.
And so the functionality, it's the simple CRM functionality is there that even I could understand it.
Thank you.
It
Thank
wasn't
you.
as
That's our first version of the CRM, and we'll expand
Mhm,
on that. As far as the text function for phones, if you're using a phone, right now, if you have a Mac, you can do a video and click, click, and it'll paste right in your phone. And so if you're using like an iPhone, they convert really well on actual mobile text. Dr. Pat, we're
mhm.
beyond the hour. I want to say thank you so much. I think this has been educational and a little entertaining. So I like that mix. That's always a great mix. So I appreciate it. I appreciate that so much. And I also want to thank all the guests that are just jumped on here. We just put this up the other day, and we got a number of people that joined, and they're actually interacting with us, and we really appreciate it. We didn't get to everyone's questions, but I'll go back, and then Dr. Pat will also go back if there's some questions on the chat, which is on the event. And then she'll go ahead and reply, and I'll reply as well, and I'll drop our links in it. But just for a visual, Pat's booking link will be there, and this one right here, my booking link. And if you want to take a look at Scoop, I'll put a link in there as well. And this code just really goes to my booking link. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. I'll go ahead and drop off. And thank
Thanks.
you, everyone else. All right.
All
Have a
right.
great week.
Adios. Bye.